What's up, guys? Lone Wolf Max S here. Another reaction video. This one was requested by FFT. This is Pitching Up by The Guardian. I've heard of The Guardian. Isn't that like a news organization or something? I don't remember. Whatever. So go to The Guardian to watch this video without me running my mouth through it. The video is just called Pitching Up. It's the first thing that comes up when you put in Pitching Up by The Guardian. Apparently it's west of Ireland is at first glance traditional farming town, a place that blah blah blah. So apparently they play sports like kids play sports in Ireland. We're going to find out though, but FFT, appreciate you requesting that. If you want to get your requests on the board, all you got to do is subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you want to see. I'll put you on the list. You'll end up in the subscriber playoffs and you'll eventually make it on the board. Ireland currently is being, or either yesterday, I'm pretty sure it was today, this morning, I don't remember, is being hit by a tropical storm. Apparently one of our tropical storms decided to take a little trip over to Ireland. So I hope everyone's okay. Those things can be incredibly dangerous. I told you about, like, we deal with them all the time during this season. I told you about my cousin had a tree go through his house. That stuff is dangerous, man. Those winds, sustained winds like that's crazy. So y'all be safe no matter what. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this started.
Ballyhonus is a small market town in the west of Ireland. The population maybe about 3,000 people.
It's as rural and traditional a place as you could get in Ireland.
The idea of people coming
So it's like
there with it.
it's like the country.
Now
It's like the
it's
sticks.
now the most cosmopolitan small town in Ireland. Actually, it is the most cosmopolitan small town in Ireland.
We have been a very sheltered society before that. Seldom seen any foreigners.
A lot of people, when I'm talking to them, they all think that I was born here with the accent and everything, you know.
How many
I don't know.
different
I've never met you
nationalities?
before in my
Like,
life.
off the top of my head, just Russian, Polish, Lithuanian, Syrian, Pakistani, Ivory Coast, Congo. I think I counted up 14 one day.
Is this going to make me cry, FFT? Did you request this to watch me cry? It already sounds kind of like it's got a saddish theme to it. I'm just kidding. That's a hurling field or Gaelic football. I know these things. I'm just kidding. Y'all had to teach me and I still haven't learned yet.
Today's county final. This is as big as it gets really in the GA. But you're going to get a right battle here today, hopefully.
And a hearty welcome to our neighbours touring on this lovely summer's day.
Mayo. Hey, there's old Mayo again. Didn't Mayo lose that game this year? So this is a county final.
Okay, shake it out.
I'm being kind of quiet right now because I'm intrigued.
This drama, this local drama.
The national game of Ireland is hurling. It somewhat resembles hockey, but is played on a field like football. A hard and fast game where no quarter is asked or given. As the
There's
scoreboard
women
marks the
screaming.
standing in game. A goal brings a big hand from the younger fans.
Nice save.
What I'd love to see at the youngsters, at the Polish kids, Lithuanian kids, the Pakistani kids, the Syrian kids, the African kids. I'd love to see some of the faces here today.
Once upon a time, everyone went to mass, certainly here 20 years ago, but that's not the case anymore. And the role of the GA in a town like this, simply couldn't be overstated. Is central to the town. It's so the root of what makes a community like this cohesive.
Is that guy crying? Don't be crying, man.
Oh, Ballyhonus, the best lads in this town.
The reason we need to integrate people is that we're losing our own. Oh, we've suffered. Especially for the last 10 years, we've lost an awful great number of young people. There has been an economic recession. They went off in Australia. They're everywhere.
Oh, I was wondering what he meant by we lost. Is there like a suicide problem? That's
West
like
of
what I
Ireland
was
has been
thinking.
exporting
But
people
he's-
since the famine, in huge numbers.
The idea
Yeah,
of
dude,
inward
Ireland's always
migration
been
would be
exporting people.
something people would have known nothing about. I think the mosque was built in the 70s. A west of Ireland town with a mosque was not the norm, to say the least. I think it was the only purpose-built mosque in Ireland at the time. They had a meat factory here which made halal meat for export. So there was always a Pakistani and a Syrian community here. With the expansion of the European Union, suddenly you had really, really high numbers of Eastern European people living here all the time. Later that decade, there was an influx of people from Africa, and a lot of them were in the refugee centre.
Well, like, they're basically describing the neighborhood I'm in right now. The neighborhood I come from was mostly like black, Hispanic, and white, and like Native American. The neighborhood I'm in right now that I moved to, we have Kenyans, a lot of like Jewish people, like from Israel, Pakistanis. Who else? There's like a pretty good mix of.
There's 300.
What do you call it? Imports? Immigrants. That's the word that I was looking for. My brain just died for a second.
Just threw me back. 2/3 of them don't speak English as their native language when they go home. Okay, so that's the challenge we face. That's why we need the Polish, the Lithuanians, the Pakistanis, all these guys. If they don't come training, we won't have teams.
Attackers, you go back in here. Defenders, you go get your ball. So you're coming in this time. And attackers, you ready? Yeah. Defenders, are you ready? Yeah. Defend! What's the That's John London. Up there, yay, 3.
I'm from Malawi. When I heard about Gaelic football, I had to ask, what is it? Oh, I only knew soccer. Oh, he loves it. He's very good.
Oh, that's great pressure. That's it. Well done.
Now you moved back from Dublin. I was at the stage where I was half my life away from my own town, and it's like you never left. It's like the mafia. You can't get out of it. It's the social fabric of the town. You know, I want to be living in Ballyhornis for the rest of my days. And I love going up to the school or being at the supermarket and the Polish lady, I don't know her name, smiles at me and says, hello, you know, this, they know me because of this, you know, because of this club and that. I like that.
I like that too. What's your name? I'm going to call him Bob. I like that too, Bob. The handle of the hurling club or bat or whatever looks like an axe. So every time I see someone walking with it, like when I see the bottom of them, I'm thinking they're walking around with an axe. Like, what's wrong with these people? And I'm like, I have to remind myself, oh yeah, it's a hurling club.
They wouldn't know, like, you know, how to react or stuff. And then sure, once I start talking, they'll be like, Jesus, where'd you get that accent? So it's gas like that, like, catching.
What does that mean? So it's gas. Is that like a saying?
I just got really into it, and all the boys from school, like, we all started becoming good friends. And like, you know, you have another group of really strong friends then, like, because you had your own community and everything was grand. But then when you play GA and you play with the other boys in the team, so they're all sound as well.
Mosque Road.
It's not for any soft lads, you know, tough lads going at each other.
Especially if you're catching it barehanded.
Some lads will be always like, oh, you don't know what you're missing, you should be doing this and that. And I'm like, no, I just respect my culture and stuff like that, and I have the crack, like, you know, I don't need to drink to have banter, like, I'm grand, like, where I am, so it's good. If the other boys, you think are going to make an effort towards you, you have to kind of make an effort as well, because it's not all one-way traffic, you know yourself, like.
It's kind of like here, like Baptist, if you're Southern Baptist, you don't drink.
Very successfully.
I mean, there are some that follow that rule and don't, but...
We're trying to integrate the new people into the club and into the community.
As I take a swig of my beer.
Have the same problems, face the same challenges. You know, you take 20 strangers, 20 groups that don't know one another. How many combinations have you there before they form a community?
So who can start off and tell me a little bit of the story of Cuchulainn. What was he very good at?
He was good at hurling.
Okay, so he left home, didn't he?
Yeah.
And how old was he when he left home, can you remember?
5 years old.
And what things did he bring with him when he left home?
A javelin stick, a spear, a hurley and a slitter.
Very good. About 1/3 of the population of the school here would have been new Irish children, shall we say. It was a huge shock, and it took a while for the people of the area to get used to it as well. But down the line, it's probably one of the best things that did ever happen, you know. And I think the local children would have learned hugely from it.
Yes, Eilish, nice book. Yeah.
Children that are living in direct provision, it's very difficult for them.
Phenomenon, I think, dates back to the mid 90s. That was the first.
That kind of sounds like everybody's immigration problem.
How Ireland has dealt with it has been horrible. The direct provision system is awful. This system that they're
no
thrown
one
into
throughout
that can't
history
work, where they're just
has ever
in limbo
dealt
for
very
years.
good with immigrants. No country, like, name me a country and then I'll look into it.
People could,
because like the Irish even came here, what, in like the late 1800s, early 1900s, and were treated horribly. No country has ever done very good with immigrants.
Feel just like the other children who live here.
I think it'll be a problem for the next 5 million years.
You know, we no real input with the asylum community in the convent. They were there, but we didn't know them. We knew that there was potential players there for us.
Oh, my little fella, Desmond. The one over there. The one who just jumped there. You know, when they kick the ball, sometimes I'm afraid that the ball will go to his face. He will be, he'll be having some injuries, but it's okay. I'm from the Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast.
When you arrive in your mind, maybe your case would take, let's say, 3 or 6 months. I was in the direct provision for almost 6 years before I was granted leave.
What do you do? Like,
6
if
years.
you
I was a day-to-day.
can't work, what do you do?
No
God, that
spelling
would
today.
get old
Oh, yeah.
quick.
How many spelling?
I would get so bored. Like, say I wanted to immigrate
Were you
to
playing the class?
Australia.
A lot.
And they were like, you can't work for 4 years. I'd be like, what am
Myself,
I guess I'll learn to surf or something.
19 euro 10 cents. And my child was getting on 9 euro 50 cents every week. The bad thing was I couldn't work. I was not allowed to work. That was the big problem. Desmond is a balloonist boy. When I asked him if you have to move out of balloonist, he said, no, mommy. Here is my place. I don't know anywhere else. And now I love balloonist. It's like my village now.
Mike there was in for rakes of points and scores. There was brilliant stuff, great blocks. He got in 2 or 3 brilliant blocks. Absolutely brilliant.
Go on, Mike. Come on, Andy. That's it.
Oh, I thought he was attacking him. I was like, oh God, they're fighting.
You see my 2 fellas playing with Mike there, you know. That's normal now in this town, you know. All the different nationalities playing alongside each other.
Who would you like to play for?
Ballyhonus. I like to play for Mayo and Galway. Why would you play for Galway? Imagine if Mayo was playing against Galway. Which one would you pick? I'll half myself.
Kids are freaking hilarious. Like my nephews, the stuff they say sometimes, it's like, where you come up with that?
We can't take on the burden of, this big spectrum, you know what I mean, of solving all life's problems. It's not nirvana, you know what I mean? Because to tell you the truth, it's hard work. Set up and keep it as tight as you can. Yeah, even down lower, yeah. But tight, pull it tight, yeah. It's
Tomorrow is it's going to be the result of 5 weeks of hectic action, really. So we're given more or less a little taste of what goes on in the club and the makeup of the club and the community spirit and community cooperation. I think we're going to get a crowd tomorrow. I really hope that car park is going to be full.
All you gotta do, like they do here, just have free food. Boom. There's your crowd.
You have lads from Africa. You have lads
Why
from
do they have
Pakistan,
Scooby-Doo?
lads from traveling communities. You have the Irish.
I guess
boys,
Scooby-Doo's
just
worldwide.
there, there's 4 different set of people, and like if you think they all can come together and play and enjoy it, like and they could be good friends. Like why can't older people look at that as an example?
It's great to see them happy and playing together. That's what it's great to see. No matter who they are, where they come from, they're all Ballyhonus kids playing for Ballyhonus.
Cool story, bro. Tell it again. I'm just kidding. Okay, so that was Pitching Up by The Guardian. So go to The Guardian on YouTube and check it out. Let's see what... I'm sure the comments aren't the greatest. All right, here we go. Irony, this is the top comment, equals British people in the comments complaining about Irish culture being wiped out by foreigners. That is pretty funny. There's no way there's just British people saying... I don't know, Mike. I don't understand. To erase a culture, it would have to... You can't truly erase a culture. Really, like in America, I guess we kind of... Because we're basically, to begin with, the first like settlers or whatever were British, So we kind of like... We still do some things. There are some things in our culture that are British, but we pretty much made up our own new culture. So maybe that's what'll happen. That would be thousands of years down the road to just completely erase a culture. There's so many things nowadays that we used to do 50 years ago that we don't do. Like, I'm trying to think, for instance, here in America. We still do like the Pledge of Allegiance and stuff in schools. That's kind of stuck around. Schools being churches, like public schools, we don't really do that anymore. There's just like some things in culture just like cultures go away eventually. So, I don't know. If you know anything about me, I want everybody to get along type person. I want everybody to have a good time. I don't care where you're from or whatever. If you're a bad person, like the way I was raised is you judge people by their character. So say, nowadays it's like, oh, I'm scared of Muslims. Say you see a Muslim person and he's, got the garb on or whatever. And, he walks up to me and he says, hey, I'm so-and-so. Nice to meet you. And I say, nice to meet you too. And then like we kind of hit it off and he comes over, helps me work on my house, stuff like that, Like, hey, he's a cool guy. I'm judging him on his character. I don't care about his race and religion and all that. But like, say there's a dude who looks exactly like me, who has the same like religious background and everything than me, and like I see him and he comes over to introduce himself and he just slaps me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, that's not a good person. I don't care what people look like or where they come from and all that. If you're a bad person, you should be labeled a bad person. I'm a case by case type person. We need to take things case by case. You can't just label, like if something happens, you can't take that person and label the entire group wrong. I'm pretty sure that is the meaning of racism. But I think it's cool. And I've noticed, you know, like now in America, it's all about like racism in your mind. It's not even something that you can see. Like, because me, I've been in the Middle East so long, you're used to seeing women in the, it's not the burqa. What's the whole dress called? It's not the burqa. And the burqa, I think, is like the face thing or whatever. But I can't remember. Yeah, what do you call it? I can't remember what you call it. But like, I'll see women in the Middle East there wearing it, and it's normal. It's a normal thing. They're actually staring at me because I'm different. And I understand. I'm like, well, they don't see this every day. You know, like a good-looking, handsome man such as myself. I'm just kidding. No, they don't see like Americans every day or somebody from outside of the Middle East. And here it's the same way. If I see a woman wearing her dress or whatever, the headdress and all that, for a second I look and like, because it's different. It catches your eye. And then I'm like, whatever. You know, and I go about my business. I don't necessarily care. It's just something different. It's like when I see a person covered in tattoos. It's not something I see every day. So I look for a second, and then I'm just kind of like, oh, whatever. And I go about my day. Like, especially me having ADD. If you start flashing, like, neon lights on the right side of my head, it's something I don't see every day. I'm going to, like, if you're like, don't look, I'm like, you know, somebody grab my head. I'm like, I got to look at the lights. But, I don't know, man. That's a cool story. It's cool everybody's getting along there and everything. They kind of really didn't get in because they showed some of like the not the protests, but like the I don't know, they were saying they want immigrants and stuff. That's cool. It seems like there's a side of the story they left out, you know, especially with the comment, which you can't take YouTube comments seriously because there's a lot of people will say stuff on YouTube which I have had to, you know, like police myself. Because I'll get mad at somebody and be like, you suck. You know, I won't say that. I try not to argue with language or anything like that, you know what I mean? Or like negativity. I try to actually argue my point. But I find myself sometimes being like, okay, I argued my point and I did it politely, but it's still, you know, kind of negative. So I'll delete it or something. But there's a lot of people on YouTube that just straight up, like if they don't like you, they're going to just diss everything about you with nasty language and stuff. But we're always going to deal with that. Like I said about the immigration thing, like no country has ever done it right. No country's ever going to do it right. We could do better and try and do better, but I mean, that's the best you could do. But I appreciate y'all watching, man. You know how to get on the board. All you got to do is subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you want to see. FFT, I appreciate the request, man. It was an interesting video. I'm going to just be honest. It was boring. Not for me to watch. I enjoyed it, but I'm sure it was boring for y'all to watch me watch it. So, I mean, you know, if you didn't like that, then whatever. The skill of hurling is the next video, so that one should be good. That's that like 3 hurling, 3 hurling videos in a row. But once again, Ireland, y'all stay safe, man. You got storms all around you and stuff. Hopefully y'all can watch this if y'all's internet hadn't been knocked out. But seriously, appreciate y'all watching. Check me out, SoundCloud, Instagram, Twitter, and like always, check me out on the street.